What's up, everybody? This is Jesse, Chris, and Edwin, soon to be Justin as well, and we're here for episode 92, Comic Conversation. It's Thursday. Let's do this. We got a lot to talk about, as I always say. A lot of really good subjects tonight. Some updates on the Stan Lee situation, some movement around some movies and TVs, and I want to get kind of a temperature check from you guys in terms of the Marvel Universe and where we are. With the books, with where the stories and the titles are, compared to where we were last year when we were talking, seemed like every week about a mess or some other crap that was going on with like Axel Alonso or one of their creators and stuff. So we'll talk about that and kind of see where we feel like, has Marvel actually turned around, or are we still kind of in the mix of the mess, or is it getting better? And I'm getting ahead of myself there, so we'll touch on that, and of course a bunch of other fun topics as well. So thanks for being here. I see there's a few people in the chat already. Iron Galactus, Jason Smith, Philly Superman, Jack Yo, Mr. Unknown, TJ, and Justin's there as well in the chat, so thank you for being there too, doing double duties. So appreciate that. The only place to watch this live is every Thursday on YouTube. If you want to catch it later, feel free. It's also on YouTube. Or if you don't want to see our faces and you just want to listen to it, go ahead and stream it as a podcast and audio format. And you can do that pretty much any platform where all those are. So there's one plug. Next plug would be a couple links down below for a code if you want some clear backing boards. Also, I put in the Amazon link, some really cool products, some action figures, some trades, some movie stuff, like full seasons or what have you, for things like that. So you can, purchase some stuff if you heard something you like tonight and want to check out more about it, like Ultraman, for example. You want to watch the first season, you can do that. Just click through there. All right, I've rambled on long enough. Let's kick it on over to our illustrious panel here. We'll start with we'll start with last in. Justin, how you doing, man?
Good. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been weird. I had Sunday morning comics, of course, and that was fun. Kind of went over why my pull list has morphed from mainly Marvel to now mainly DC, which is very strange for me. Very strange. So I kind of went over that, but this week I've just kind of taken the week off. Haven't even made it to the shop yet. Haven't even made it. I've read some books, but I haven't made it to the shop. So.
Yeah, you're a good Wednesday warrior. You're usually there, putting up the haul and everything right away. So, yeah.
Some weeks just don't work out that way.
Yeah, schedule and all that. No, I hear you. I definitely hear you. There's plenty of weeks when I don't even get there till the next week, let alone the weekend.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that. So,
but yeah, cool. Good stuff. We got a lot of good topics to talk about tonight too. So
yeah, topics. Yeah, like topics.
Topics.
All right, Chris. How's it going, Chris?
Not bad. For me, I'm back from vacation. Had an awesome, basically week off down in Disney. Yeah, it was good. It was very hot, but really, really awesome time. My daughter had a really good time, which is fun. She had to meet a lot of characters, and oddly enough, you wouldn't think that a 15-month-old can get on a lot of rides, but she actually did get to go on a lot of rides. So she had a blast on there. I had a great time. Nice. I would say if you're gonna go, just be prepared for the heat in July. But overall, it's not a bad time.
It's humid.
But yeah, I had to kind of forego my my comics from last week, because I didn't get a chance to get to the shop, so I have to pick up a bunch of stuff in doubles just because I missed out. So, it is what it is, but it's cool though. I wouldn't trade comics for my vacation just because that was definitely a fun time, and glad to have it. Just a time away from.
You guys go without me. I'm just gonna go to my shop. You guys have fun in Disney.
Yeah, no, it was a great time. It was a great time, and so. Back home and everything like that, back to reality, which is not, sometimes you wish you can go back, just one more week would have been great, but it's all right. I had a good time. So yeah, just getting back into the groove of everything. Just because taking that time off, coming back, it's just kind of like
Yeah.
You have to get back to the grind, but
Exactly.
just a little bit more time than usual. So
sometimes I feel like when you go on a trip, like you need a couple days to get back and like decompress. It's almost like a mini vacation from the vacation before you get back to reality.
I'll tell you right now, like if you have the ability and the wherewithal of planning to schedule at least one day in between the end of your trip and going back to work and everything, do it, because it just I mean that 24 hours will kind of give you just that little grace period you need to come back, just to like head right back into work. It's just like,
especially when there's time zones involved.
Yeah, well, you have the buzzkill of the vacation being over, and there's just like, oh, and I have to actually do things too. It's just like, you have to turn your brain back on. It's just a lot of things.
Yeah, heading out to like the West Coast, for example, because we're all East Coasters here. That's not so bad because you're going ahead kind of basically in time, but it's that trip coming back that's really rough.
Yeah,
that's always where I get hit the hardest, when I'm flying back home and I need like a full like flying from like for work or whatever on a Friday, and I need like the Saturday and the Sunday to recover before I go back to work.
3 hours, you don't know that it's you don't know that you miss it, and you're like, oh yeah, 3 extra hours is good. Then you come back and it's like, oh man, like I gotta be you just, like that 3 hours just kills you, because just like, I have 3 less hours before I have to go back to work. No.
Yeah, damn it. Yeah, that what do you call it? Daylight savings. That 1 hour is rough enough, but now we're doing 3 hours. Yeah. All right, Edwin. Edwin's going to be here just talking with us, and we're going to see his cool new logo for the show. So, how you doing?
I'm good, man. It's I was actually really excited this week because a lot of #1s came out this week. I think my haul is mostly image #1s this week, but definitely looking forward to doing some reading. I'm definitely going to be intentional as well, but I'll get on reading some stuff. But I'm actually going to be listening because I got 2 books that I'm in the process of actually cleaning right now, so I'm going to be cleaning those while we're doing the chat. So
cool. Yeah, Justin, how do you feel about that? You took the week off from the shop, kind of.
I mean,
you hear him saying, "All these #1s came out. It's great."
Mm-hmm. There weren't any #1s that are on my pull list. So
okay, yeah.
It's like Superman. I don't pick that up. He's boring. Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Don't tell Jay that.
Well, I mean, from a perspective of like, what can you do with a character?
You got DieDieDie #1,
like,
right?
It's they're rehashing stories that just finished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With Jor-El coming back again, and basically let's just rewrite what just happened and do it again. So I don't know. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
I mean, there was some good image books that came out this week. So.
Yeah.
Like our that one we're going to talk about.
That's right. It's coming up pretty soon. Yeah, TJ Watson goes, yay, more #1s. Like,
right?
As if we don't get enough of those already.
Slap us in the face.
Yeah, actually, I got it rolled over from All New Wolverine, so I got the X-23 #1. I like her. I like Honey Badger. Jonathan's cool. So I was happy that rolled over. My Spider-Man rolled over. I like that as well. It's a good one. With Spencer and Otley, really good team, good start to it. There's some promising things there, but we don't want to kind of get our hopes up too much on that.
Good God, the internet freaked out about that.
I know, right? Let's see what else I got. I got Superman. I got the Adam Hughes cover for that, which is pretty cool. I picked it up just because it looked like the B cover. I didn't realize it was those. So there was 3. There was the regular cover, Adam Hughes, and a David Mack cover. My shop had just the Hughes left, actually, so I picked that one up. And then later I realized it was a Hughes, which is a person that I collect. I don't collect everything just for the art, but there are some artists where I'll go like just for the art. Like some books I haven't read. I just okay, I like that cover.
If anybody wants an Adam Hughes signature, this weekend he'll be at the Atlanta Comic-Con. So come on.
Sweet. Yeah. And let's see what else I get. The one we're going to talk about. And I know I'm forgetting one. That's why I'm like stalling on it, because when I forget what it was, actually, I have some right here. There was another one. What was it?
I always think those are records. I don't know why. I just like Jesse's got a ton of records.
Yeah. This is it. Captain America #1. Just the regular cover. This one. So
yeah.
You know, it's coats. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ta-Nehisi Coates is on it. Also doing Black Panther. I think he's getting much better as a comic book writer. He's a good writer. Like, he came from the novel side. And I think he had a tough time, especially at first, cutting down on the exposition and letting the art do some of the talking for him. That being said, pretty good to start, with this. I really actually liked it, and the take here. And this is kind of like, we're getting away from, I don't know, was it last week? I picked it up this week.
Yeah, it was last week.
Okay, I picked it up this week.
Here it is in the awesome.
There you go.
Backboard.
Oh, nice.
So
sweet.
If you guys have wondered what stuff like this looks like, this is awesome. Now, you said you liked this book. I did not like this book.
Yeah.
Just because, again, it's the same thing. It's still America, who has already forgiven Steve Rogers. Now, all of a sudden, they don't trust him again somehow. Or the person writing this book didn't read the previous series.
Yeah.
So
I think that was good. Honestly, because we're gonna get really far away from Secret Empire Cap, which is what I want. Get away from that.
That's what I wanted.
Forget it.
They're still hitting us in the face with it. The first issue. So
yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see. I usually try to give it like 2-3 issues before unless it's horrible, to cut it. Kind of get through that first arc and the setup and get a feel for the new team. So.
Yeah, I like Cap. I like Cap in the movies way more than in the comics. I don't know why. It's like one of the few characters that I would rather just watch him than read him.
Yeah, I think he's kind of like Superman for you.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe
he's like very like pure, with his ideals and everything, like Boy Scoutish. And I don't think you like more like the guy who goes out in the nighttime with a stick.
The conflicted hero.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the conflicted hero.
Yeah. So, let's see. Stay Puff saying hi to Joker M21, who's also here. So that's cool. Gomez NES is here. TJ says every time. Oh, just scrolled on me. He says, right? Straight about to read it. Every time I hear Honey Badger, my brain pictures Honey Boo Boo for a second. That would be an interesting comic book. Stay Puff says he wasn't a fan. Oops, scroll again. Wasn't a fan of Coates' first run on Black Panther. The new arc is pretty good so far. So, getting a couple different sides of the spectrum here.
Yeah, I've been curious about that. Look, Wakanda in Space book.
Yeah,
I haven't read it yet. It's good to hear somebody liked it though.
Yeah. Philly's Superman that you just hate all of his favorites.
Sorry, Jay. Don't hate me.
You know what? There's a comic out there for everybody, but not every comic is for everybody. So.
That's right. Yeah. And I don't hate those characters. It's just there hasn't been a story. Like Secret Empire was pretty good for Cap, but that was an all-encompassing. It wasn't just a centric Cap story. So there hasn't been like a Superman story or a Cap story in a while that has really like captured my interest.
Right. Okay.
That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, but you're not over there like, why won't he just die already again?
Something. I mean, they'll bring him back.
Shoot him again.
Time bullets. It's cool.
Yeah, send him back through time again. Leave him there this time. Yeah, actually, you know what? That might work because I remember in Secret Wars, the 2015 one, there was a whole. I think it was it Planet Hulk?
Yeah.
Was that the book he was in?
Yep. And
that was very kind of like almost prehistoric, where he had like
It was him and Devil Dinosaur riding through Hulk country. Yeah.
So like that could actually work, send him way back or to the Savage Land and have him just hang out with dinosaurs. there's precedent for that to work. All right, so talking about books that came out, the big talk this week is Die by Robert Kirkman. Gimple's on it, a couple other people. This was unannounced, which is really cool and kind of unprecedented in this era where we know pretty much everything about a book 2 months in advance, sometimes even before that. And like even last week, we were talking about just how many events and all these books that get spoiled, a week before they come out, or, shops want to be like, hey, we read it real quick and they want to like put it up and be the first to spoil something. And, the spec sites and everything. This day and age is all about the information ahead of time. So the fact that this book came out and nobody knew, basically, a week, a few days before it hit shops, is pretty cool. Yeah. I thought that was cool. They gave it to shops for free. As kind of, remember the Spawn thank you?
Mm-hmm.
This was kind of another version of that.
But there was a price on it, right? It wasn't free to the public, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't free to me.
It's $3.99.
Okay.
That's the cover, right? It was free to the shops, though. They handed them out. I think they have to send some back, though. But
it was a million of them in my shop.
So what happened was they matched because they didn't know, the shops obviously didn't order them. They didn't have a good idea about what to send out. There was no book or no talk about it to gauge it on. So they based the print run on shop's initial order for Oblivion Song #1. So it matches that, right? Yeah. So that's how they came up with that. So what I did was I actually went to Comic-Con. I looked up, I think it was May of this year when Oblivion Song #1 came out, and the print run on Oblivion Song is 80,281 or 287.
It's a lot.
So if they matched, and that's what Comic-Con reports is the retail level, the orders. It doesn't report the sell-through, just retail orders. So we can assume that this book has just over 80,000 print run as well, right? There was 10 covers, and there's a gold foil variant out there. There's one per store. There's about 3,500 like diamond accounts shops basically in America. Mm-hmm. So there's about 3,500 of those floating around. So you figure about with the 10, well, there was 9 and then one with no word bubbles. So 9 like word bubbles, and they were like saying different things within the bubble, and one with Hillary saying she's drunk. Which I'm just laughing about that. And then one with no word bubbles. So those are, I would say, a little over 8,000 each, right? If you take out the 3,500 from the whatever it was, the 80,000, and then divide that by the rest. We're not here to do math.
Math.
Math. And that's a lot of books floating around, though. That's a lot of books, and it was equally allocated. So there's not more than one kind of like more rare than the others, other than the gold foil one. So I wouldn't, if get it if you want to read it, get it. It's cool. I got a couple of them, but I'm not expecting it to be the next Walking Dead #1 or anything.
Yeah.
So don't.
I felt like that's what they wanted to get the hype on with it.
Yeah.
New Walking Dead, check it out. Just like, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Get it and read it. Have fun with it. If you like it, put it on your pull list or whatever. But yeah. And the other thing about it is that it's open to order now. So shops can just order whatever on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it on that book. Did you guys get it? I know you didn't, Justin, but unless you read it digitally.
Yeah, I got it. I almost grabbed 2, but I don't want to be greedy. So
yeah.
What is the story about?
I flipped through it. There's a lot of blood and guts. So
yeah. Which ones did I get? I'm looking for it. Oh, there's my Hughes one.
Oh, yeah.
Here it is. So I got these 2. I got the one where they say mission accomplished, and then one with no word bubbles on it. So it's just very violent, bloody book.
I had no idea they had a different
violent
types.
James Bondy type thing. Jason Smith says he is ordering DieDieDie.
TJ Watson said someone is already selling all 10 variants for $5K.
Here's what the artwork looks like.
Yeah, I saw that.
Holy crap.
That's thing on eBay. Yeah, absolutely. Someone's trying to sell it for like crazy money. And I'm just like, hey, more power to you.
I wouldn't pay more than cover price. Don't do it, guys. Don't be
$5K. Hopefully that got
fooled into that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing on eBay for like anywhere from $5 to $10.
All 10 of these. $5,000. I gotta buy a new furnace.
The most I would pay.
Dude,
the most I would pay is cover price.
Yeah.
And even for the gold foil one, I wouldn't pay more than like, maybe like $20. If you look up the other ones that have come out, the gold or silver foil ones, they've really settled down from like the first few weeks they were out. So I'm fully expecting this, especially with an 80K print run, to do the same. It's gonna settle down a lot.
I'm expecting to see some of these end up in like free comic book day, like because I can't see that someone be like, oh yeah, need to have all these. Like, no,
gotta have them all.
Shop's probably gonna end up giving them away at some point, just because there's so many of them, and it's just like it's no difference in the story. It's the same story, so it's just you have 10 different covers with them saying different stuff, and one with them absolutely saying nothing. So
yeah.
I mean, hey, if you like to buy stuff like that for lots and lots of money, I got a bunch of dollar bin issues that I will mock up to you like hot content and say, hey, listen, you gotta have these. These are some good, because I could use some extra money.
Yeah. I think we could all put together a lot of image number ones for the past year and be like, no, $10,000.
Just throw you full runs of image stuff. It's just like image first stuff. It's like, here you go. Here's the entire run of Cyber or whatever. Like here's a whole run of Bloodstrike right here. $6,000. Go for it.
We're gonna talk about one in a little bit, unless you want to jump ahead.
Wait. Let's wait a second. Chris, you have probably the coolest Punisher shirt I've ever seen.
Thank you.
That is an awesome looking shirt, brother.
Yeah, it's just nice. Looks like just a concept art sketch. So I'm just like, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Okay, sorry. Huh?
I'll say this. Right. I can. I'll say this so I can back up, but so I can also have it validated because you said something about it. So when I was in Disney, my wife gave me a little bit of trouble. She's like, wear these shirts. What's wrong with you? And this and that. And like, you need to be grown up and this and that. I got so many compliments for my shirts. My Voltron shirt got a lot of compliments, and this one too. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it's a cool shirt, man!" And I was just like, "Thank you." So I feel validated because, like, you're saying it and saying the same thing makes me happy. So I watch the video and be like, "See, more compliments." I can't go outside and get compliments.
Awesome. You feel vindicated now, like, huh?
Absolutely, and I'll keep wearing it just to see what happens. So
yeah.
My wife is now your mortal enemy, but that's okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, jeez. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully it's okay.
Nah, she just, it doesn't help her cause of like, you need to be wearing.
No. You're walking around Disney World with a skull on your chest. So, I mean, I get it.
I was like, it's not the fact there's a skull on their chest. She's just like, we need to wear more grown-up clothes. Like, do you know where we are? Do you see where we are right now?
Yeah, what?
Like, this place is built by cartoon mice. There's princesses all around every corner. There's nothing grown up about this place. I told her she got mad.
You're like, I'll be an adult, but now is not the time.
Exactly. We just got done watching The Incredibles.
We're at a place called the Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. You gotta pick your battles, so can't sit there and be like, oh.
That's right. Just remember, happy wife, happy life.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, we were talking about dollar bin books. Profit. Talk about Profit. Came out in what do you call it? Youngblood, right? Rob Liefeld property. Yeah. Justin, you want to talk about Profit? I know you're
Profit fan. Yeah, Profit's like the coolest. He's the coolest. He's what Cable could have been basically, I mean, think about it. He's a super soldier that is able to time travel and is basically immortal in some sort of way. So like the mini series was solid. After that, the regular series was pretty good. When you get to a point though where Stephen Platt takes over the art on Prophet, amazing stuff. It's also the reason he got fired from Image because he couldn't keep a deadline to save his life.
Yeah.
But that stuff just looked amazing, you know, especially at that time. It was crazy. And Prophet had the potential. If Image could have kept going, if they could have kept the hype right, you know, Prophet could have been one of those books that stayed up there and could still be running like Spawn, something like that. Like the character had that much support and push behind him. But then it kind of fell off with Extreme Sacrifice and stuff like that. One thing I could say, though, is I'm extremely happy that I got on my, like, go get all your old Image books, kick, because now those Prophet books have kicked up like crazy. Like, not even funny crazy. off of news that, I don't know, man. We're years and years away from seeing any type of actual concrete vision from a film like that. So, but I think it's really cool. I mean, this is crazy that, I mean, think about it, guys. These are characters that you would have never thought would have made it to the big screen at all. These are forgotten characters, really.
Never in a billion years, yeah.
They've tried to push Prophet. Like the last one they did was like Prophet, Earth War, or Earth something. Looked horrible. Writing wasn't good. Like, so for the fact that they're going back to this character who doesn't sell now at all, to make a film about it, I just think it's amazing. You know,
didn't he try to make a push for Prophet like a year ago? Or
that's what I'm talking about. It was Prophet, Earth War, or something like that. But it looked horrible. And like I said, the story wasn't that awesome. So,
where did this news drop? When and where? Because I didn't know anything about it until you guys said something. Then I saw Rob Liefeld. I'm following him on Instagram, and he started posting stuff on it. So,
it came from so Studio 8 is the studio that purchased it. Guy who owns it used to work for Warner Brothers, and they put it out through a marketing company that they use. Collider reported it. A couple others, got that press release because they're signed up for that like film studio stuff. So they got it, reported it, and that's where it came from. And this was just a couple days ago, so not that long ago. Funny part was they were billing it in the release as the anti-Captain America. So kind of like goes along with what Justin was saying. But this is interesting. This is where it gets interesting because I looked it up. I'm not too familiar with Studio 8 or Jeff Robinoff, this and that. So I wanted to kind of dig in a little bit deeper and find out why now, why this. Back in April, just a couple months ago, Studio 8 announced that they were seeking out $200 million in investment. They wanted some investment, banks and backers to come on. This was 2018 is supposed to be like their turnaround year for them. They haven't really done anything in terms of like putting out movies, so they're putting out a couple this year. It's very similar kind of to what Valiant did. Remember we were talking about like Bloodshot, Vin Diesel. They were trying to put out all these names attached to these movies to get these buyers to come in so that they could avoid DMG buying them out, which ended up happening. It didn't work for them. So kind of with that in mind, from April they're looking for 200 million. Now here they are announcing like Rob Liefeld properties and Prophet and stuff like that. So I think that this is kind of like what that Valiant strategy was. Make these announcements, it's pretty cool announcements, to try to attract that money and those investors to the company. So I think that's kind of one of the underlying causes for it. But I thought that was an interesting aspect to the news that wasn't really touched on, by a lot of the news releases when they got it, in the past week or so. So.
You think they're riding on Liefeld's name?
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
That and Deadpool fame. I mean, because they're looking at where it's just like, you know, with everything that came up with Deadpool, and it's just like you have more characters, you have more, and I mean his whole, I guess, niche of storytelling is just like, you know, kind of what you would consider to be rated R type characters like that. So it's just like, oh, we can make money off this, and then it's like it's not you know, Disney or Marvel that we have to deal with either. So like they can really go ahead and be creative and make the kind of movie that they want to make with this new property. So it's just like, if it does end up doing well, look what they have. They have a whole bunch of, you know, his universe that he can keep putting out there and hopefully, you know, make lots of money, and, you know, then he can charge us $1,000 a signature for stupid things. So it's gonna be, you know, oh, you're getting New Mutants $98,000 profit books, $50 a signature. Like I mean, because that's the kind of egomaniac he is when it comes to his books and stuff. So,
dog doing some crazy stuff. Hold on, sorry guys.
That's all right.
But I agree though. I think that, you know, it's just one of those things where he's gonna make as much money as possible, and yeah, they're gonna, you know, write off him just because of the fact that he had or has a popular movie out there, you know, with characters that he created. So yeah, this is definitely riding the train and seeing how far it goes. You know,
come on, riding the train. I think it was Dan Panosian put up on Twitter, like, oh, you know, if you're gonna fan cast, who would you put? And put up like a poll with a couple names. Forget who it was, but I said, why don't you use Josh Brolin? That way, when they do the Prophet Cable crossover movie, he can play both characters.
Right.
But then I started to think about, actually, Josh Brolin might be pretty cool as Prophet.
Yeah,
I think that might be a good pick if they were gonna, you know.
They just got to give him a wig, man, because Prophet's got some long flowing hair, man.
Those long, luscious locks of hair.
Right. With, you know, framed by that 90s headgear thing that he used to wear.
Yeah. That he borrowed from Shatterstar.
Right. Oh my gosh, yes he did. That was exactly it.
Like, oh, hey bro. They probably came from the same planet.
Yep. Man. So yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up my Supreme run before they announce that film.
Oh yeah, you know what's coming.
Well, that's the thing. Now, is that one a little bit tougher because of Alan Moore? Because I know that he's kind of.
Well, those are the later issues. Like once it got up to like 50,
okay,
something like that. They were up there.
So, I didn't know, because I thought that he co-created Supreme with Liefeld, I think it was.
I don't remember, honestly. I can't remember. I can see the inside cover of the first issue of Supreme, but I can't remember what it says.
I can see the foil on the cover of the first issue.
The indentation on the other side.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know, but Supreme is still, it's dollar bin material at this point. So if you were interested in like an older angry Superman, there you go.
Older angry Superman, yeah.
That's pretty much what he is. He comes back and cuts off heads in the first issue. Hey, can't beat it.
Well,
the names aren't on the cover.
They credit him for being. They credit just Rob Liefeld. Nothing having to do with. Nothing having to do with his creation, at least. So it's Liefeld's creation. So if he is, you know, gonna be anything with Alan Moore, like you said, it's not a big deal. So I just wanted to make sure of it, because it's like, you know, you never know, because Alan Moore is very particular with his properties, and I know that he was pretty bitter after. He's pretty bitter after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He was also very bitter about the Watchmen. So, but those are what, you know. Those are basically his creations. This is not his, so they can do whatever they want. But yeah, I could see that. I could see Supreme. Like, why not? Especially if you have a, you know, if you have a Superman-like character that you can pretty much, you know, mold in your own way. Why not? You know what I mean? Something that's not, especially where, you know, the current state of the DC movies and Superman not doing so hot. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you want a dark, gritty version of Superman, which they've been trying to push, there's one already. You know what I mean? So
that I think, you know, that just on its own, being that type of, like, you know, just anti, you know, establishment type Superman is gonna be something that people will go ahead and see, like, oh my god, you see this Supreme thing? Look, it's like Superman, but he's like a badass. So that would be kind of cool.
That's right.
Speaking of wearing a suit and looking like a badass, Netflix has a couple announcements that they're moving forward with Ultraman, which is cool. You like Ultraman?
I'm going back to Japan.
That's
I
right.
remember
Old school stuff. Yeah, really old. So it's action. I'm reading it here. Action drama centered around a man possessing the spirit and DNA of the legendary hero Ultraman. He wears a metallic ultra suit and fights evil. So yeah, in the original stuff, he came from. There was a whole bunch of them. They're all called Ultras. They came from another planet. Came here to protect Earth to like fight like robots and
they could get really big.
Yep.
Yeah. And they have Shinji Aramaki tied to this, who's really famous for like mech suits and like the designs for that. So I think it's awesome that they brought him on for it.
Nice.
Yeah. They also announced season 2 for Castlevania coming out in October.
Castlevania was good.
Right? It was short. It was really short.
Yeah, I was kind of sad when it ended. I was just like, more. There's gotta be more to this.
Yeah.
But I felt the same way with Voltron too, because Voltron wasn't all that long, and so they were quick to put that one back out. So
yeah,
I definitely am looking forward to
3 seasons now. I think those are up to 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're up to season 3.
Yeah. AG server says my grandpa watched Ultraman. Right on. Cool grandpa.
I watched it as a kid. I watched it as a kid on Fox a long time ago, and it like really didn't make any kind of sense. Like, but and I mean, watching the actual live action where the guy would talk and everything, you didn't care about that. You just wanted him to sit there and like just kind of fade away into obscurity, like how he would do. So he would grab this jewel on his necklace and just like going. And then all of a sudden, like Ultraman would just pop out and they're like, oh, all right, let's see this part, because that was the cool part. The rest of the show though was completely forgettable. I don't know if he was just really cold or if he had like a throat issue or what. He just go and then just like turn into Ultraman. It was really poorly done. But I guess the Japanese one is like really similar to like kind of like how Power Rangers and stuff was. Yeah. So it kind of had more sense to it, and it was just a better show. But I remember Ultraman. And it was just a weird show as far as the Fox one was concerned. But the action was cool though. So I will say that I look forward to that if it's gonna be done right.
I just remember like the old campy one that looked like it was a Godzilla set, and they just had the guy in the Ultraman suit versus the monster instead.
Yeah, and it was just like a silver jumpsuit.
Yeah, with the helmet. About it. I mean, but like. I don't know. For the time, it was actually really cool. You're like, oh man, this is so crazy. You get like a block of like 2 Godzilla movies, and then Ultraman come on and be nuts.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Godzilla, part of this announcement was Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle. That's coming out July 18th, actually. So that should be cool.
Nice.
On Netflix.
Yeah. I recently watched a video on like the size compare, like Godzilla from the inception to now, and like the size and like he keeps changing size like every new iteration comes out.
Yeah,
they made fun of him in the last one.
Do what?
They said that the last version of Godzilla that was in the Bryan Cranston movie, they called him fat. They were just like the Japanese were just like, dude, why is Godzilla fat? Like, what's wrong? It's like but yeah, man, it's just like you watch him through the years and he's changed so much. I mean, I think the 80s was when you first got like the modern looking Godzilla with like the blue fire and all that stuff. And it was just like, I mean, it looked awesome. I think that just as a character too, if you watch the very first Godzilla movie, it's actually very well done. And it's actually a really good movie because of the story and plot and everything like that.
Yeah. And then we digressed to Son of Godzilla.
Well, yeah. I mean, once they started making money off of it and everything, you had all types of stuff going. Everybody fought Godzilla. King Kong fought Godzilla. What's it called? Mothra and all the rest of them. And they just, they would just kind of throw whoever. But that very first movie is actually really good. If you have a chance to watch it, check it out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think there was one where they went to Planet X to bring him back. Like he had left, and they're like, "No, you got to come back."
Yeah, they were always dissing him. Like at one point, he was a hero. First he was a villain. Then he kind of was like a hero. Then he kind of like was like, he'd jump back and forth to being kind of a villain here and there. And then that was you're right. There was that one where he got fed up. He's like, "I'm done. You guys don't appreciate me. I'm leaving." They're like, "No, please, please." I think they had those 2 little girls that sang to Mothra, like beg him to come back. They were the ones that traveled back to get him.
Yeah.
Please come save us. Mechagodzilla's here. We can't defeat him without you.
Pretty much. And then that was like one of his only losses. That was like he has like Mothra, the electrical plant, Mothra, and then Mechagodzilla gave him a beating.
King Kong also whooped that ass.
Did he really? See, I never saw that one. I just like I remember being a little kid and wanting to see it. And it was like, back in the block, I was like, oh, that one. And like, I'd be like, can we rent this one? No, not renting that.
Yeah.
Too bad.
That's a good one. That's a good one. King Kong powers up at the end and then just beats right back.
And then Jackie will run up Godzuki, his son. I think it's only in the cartoon, though.
That was his name, right? Yeah.
Oh, it's Godzuki.
Yeah.
There was Jeff mentioned it, the Godzilla anime on Netflix. I did see that.
I didn't watch that.
Different take. It was very, very far in the like thousands of they thought they went just a few 100 years into the future. They're like, well, if we kind of like leave the Earth and come back, maybe he'll be dead. Turns out he wasn't.
He just got bigger.
He would have like destroyed everything. Yeah, right. So they saw a Godzilla and like oh cool. And defeat the Godzilla. I'm like, yeah, we won. All this shit. We just killed Godzilla. No, you didn't. No, you did not.
That nuclear power didn't give him immortality.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. It was an interesting take. I'll say that. I don't know. It was interesting. I definitely set it up for a sequel.
Yeah. Well, if you saw the new one, it was really weird. Like he was like evil. And then, like I guess you could say it was more misunderstood than anything else. And then, but at the end of it, they were like cheering. I'm like, "Oh, Godzilla, you're our hero." I'm like, "This is weird. Like, not bad weird, but just kind of like like, do you even know what's going on? Like, what's happening here?" So I was just like, for me, I was just like, the movie really just kind of fell off the rails after Bryan Cranston died in the movie. So I mean, like they had a great concept. They had amazing trailers. I was give that all there because I was so excited to see that movie. And when I did, I was happy for like the first like 20 or 30 minutes. And then after that, I was kind of like, oh, this is really starting to go downhill. And I was fighting it. And then by the end, I was like, this is completely just falling apart.
Yeah. It's a shame when they do that to our favorite properties, right?
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. But we have to be careful. I'm gonna lead into the next thing here. Yeah, it's okay, obviously, not to like things, but we have to be careful. James Mangold, who did Logan, said he was talking about fandom backlash and saying that like if there's too much of that, too much of that toxicity and like people are not just talking like we are, respectively about them and we didn't like it or we liked it, instead of like, say I didn't like Logan and I was like, oh, Mangold, you're such a piece of shit. I hope you die. You know, that's going to push really good directors away. That's going to push really good talent away. The actors aren't going to want to submit themselves to that. So that was his warning, right? He was like, well,
he's 100%. Like, why, you know what I mean? Like you're out here trying to act, you're doing something that you love to do and hopefully entertaining people and giving them something that they want, and then only to find out that you didn't play it the way that I expected you to play it, and guess what, I'm gonna just come at you on social media in a horrible way and get a whole group together and really just make it worse on you, or or find out I mean, and this is something that you don't hear so much, and I hope it doesn't go this way, but I have a feeling that people being people will take it this way, and it's just like, oh, like now I'm gonna go out, harass your family, your kids, just what I mean.
That's
it's
it happens.
Stuff like that. Like
the guy who played Jar Jar Binks, talking about killing himself because the backlash was like so horrible. It was still like kind of young at the time, and that was like his first like major role, and like people were like just so vile and evil and angry with what they were saying to him that he almost took his own life because of it.
Which is, I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, at that point too, it's just like you have to kind of step back and realize, why are you so angry? Like, because the issue is not with the character. The issue is not with the art form or the film or whatever it is that you're, that didn't go your way. The issue is with you at that point. Like really, it's just like you have to step back and be like, so what if someone treated you like that for something that you did in your job? Like if you worked, let's say you worked at McDonald's or something like that, and you messed up somebody's burger. Like, what if the entire restaurant turned on you instead of shaming and screaming and yelling and getting at you like that? You know what I mean? And push you to the point of suicide. Like, I mean, and I know it sounds crazy because it's just like, you know, that's the extreme. But I mean, they're just doing their job. I mean, that's literally they were. You bagged my groceries wrong. Kill this man. Like make sure his kids can't cross the street without being harassed.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, it doesn't need to go that far. Like, look, you didn't like it? All right, fine. So then don't support it the next time it comes out. Like, take it easy. But, you know, a lot of people don't like to have that type of rational thought. They just love having that soapbox of social media and just, you know, really just drive it at somebody because just like, you know, click of a button is so easy and really you're hidden behind, you know, whatever it is that you're saying. Even if it does say your name, even, you know, there's no real consequence for it, unfortunately. Right. And there should be. There should definitely be something that, you know, when it gets to the point where somebody is having some type of, you know, harm, whatever kind, whether it's like mental, physical, anything like that, where it starts to, you know, really take that turn to being something that's unhealthy and wrong, there should be consequences and people should be held accountable.
Yeah. Generation hate doesn't care.
Yep.
That's right. You know, Jerry Conway actually replied to James Mangold, and he said, sadly, Mangold's warning assumes toxic fans would recognize talent if they saw it.
Burn!
Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah, like, you know, it's just like the funny part about that, or the other side of it too, is when you get to that point where it's just like, you know, but is it like, you know, is it right to insult these people and make it, you know what I mean? It just like, I mean, I get it. We all got feelings and this and that.
If you wouldn't say it to their face, don't say it online.
Exactly.
That's how it comes down to. If you're not enough of a hard ass to walk up to them and say exactly what you want to type to their face, then you shouldn't say it because you're worthless, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. Like a lot of people gave The Rock a ton of grief about Doom, and they gave him a ton of grief about was it the first was it the Mummy Part 2? Like, oh, the CGI looks so bad. That was all The Rock did. You call him an actor. The Scorpion King wasn't a good movie. Go up and say that.
Scorpion King.
I bet you if you saw him, you wouldn't even come close to even saying that. Like,
you'll know what he was cooking right away.
You would turn into a fanboy no matter who you are.
Exactly.
You're like, oh my gosh, it's The Rock. How you doing, sir? Oh, you're awesome.
I'll give you what's it called? I'm not the biggest fan of I'm not as big of a wrestling fan as I used to be. But on my flight home, Paige was on on my flight, and I was like, "Oh shit, Paige!" Like you know, like I completely was like, "Oh, like I see this. I've seen her in wrestling. That's it."
That's
like,
how I feel about Kevin Owens. Like that, I hate that guy.
Kevin Owens.
If I saw him, I'd be like, "Damn, look, it's Kevin Owens."
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, you know, like I remember as a kid. I mean, as a little kid, you know, I was not a fan of Ted DiBiase because of all the stuff that he did to Hogan and all the rest of that. We saw him in the airport when I was, I think, like 7, and I was like, Ted DiBiase, the man. Like, I was his biggest fan at that one moment. And I mean, but I have been cursing him left and right about, like, you know, selling the belt to Andre and all the rest of that crap. I was so mad, but it was just like, you know, at some point you do have to step back and realize that, like, you know, it's all entertainment. Like, that's it. If you can't separate, then there's a problem with you.
Yep.
You know? That's it.
Exactly.
But yeah, and maybe it's like you said, Chris. Maybe it's the whole lack of consequences.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
So
I mean,
but don't worry, the government will take that away soon.
That's right. Yeah.
Anonymity will go away.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna make just a couple. We have some topics on here. I'm just gonna kind of go through them. A couple like news relating to movie topics, but then I want to get into a couple other things that hopefully we can spend a little bit more time on. One of them is kind of like how we feel about where Marvel is right now compared to last year, and also at the end after that, there's some updates around Stan Lee and the restraining order, the lawsuit. Remember we were talking about that $1 billion lawsuit.
Yep.
We'll talk about that at the end. I'll just touch on these kind of quickly. They did officially find a director for the Black Widow movie. It's going to be Kate Shortland is her name. Pretty unknown. She's not known for big movies. She's more known on like the film festival circuit.
Yep.
They had interviewed like 70 something like that different female directors. Finally decided on her. So, you know, I don't really know much about her body of work, but, you know, I have confidence in their decision and, you know, pretty cool Black Widow movies coming up. Duncan Jones is going to be doing a comic book movie, he said. Teased about it, but basically that's all he said. They'll make an announcement in a couple days, I think. He did what did Duncan Jones do? He did Mute, which was on Netflix. But I think most people would know him for the Warcraft movie. He did that. So that's Duncan Jones. So who knows what it'll be at this point? It could be anything. So there's that. What was another piece I was going to mention? So we have Jeremy Renner. He's going to be Detective Twitch Williams in the Spawn movie.
Oh, nice.
Alongside Jamie Foxx. Yep. So have to kind of nerd him up a little bit more.
That makes it a little bit like if it's still with the plan of Spawn's not really going to be in the movie much at all, if more than just a few minutes, that adds to the credibility of the movie to put somebody on screen that we will go watch.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Hawkeye as a cop, that's cool, man. That's cool. We're down with that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I wonder who they'll get to play Sam.
I know that would.
Right? That's the next.
I want John Goodman.
Ryan Reynolds movie.
Yeah, that would work. Goodman and Renner as Sam and Twitch. Yeah. I could see that. Yeah. Right. So Joaquin Phoenix is going to be the Joker. It's definitely happening, is the quote. Todd Phillips is still directing. Martin Scorsese is no longer on the project. But the producer from Wolf of Wall Street is now on with them.
Throw it out.
But is this still a Joker movie?
It's Joker origin movie. It's what they're calling a new banner. So it's not connected to the DCEU movies, that connected set of movies, right? Mm-hmm. That's why you're still getting the Suicide spin-off movie with Jared Leto as a Joker. This is separate from it. They're going to be doing kind of like one-offs of different characters, I guess. And this is kind of one of those. They're saying it's going to start filming in September. So pretty quick. And it's got a small budget, $55 million budget compared to like the $200 million, Snyder stuff. So
nope. Right.
55 million is a lot, but compared to 200 million, it's not so much. So should be interesting. And there's a rumor. I'm going to call it a rumor right now. So take this with a massive grain of salt, but a big character in it is supposed to be Thomas Wayne. Take that how you want, One of the people that they said was Robert De Niro is supposed to be in it too.
I mean, you can say all the things you want about, and not you specifically, but just Joaquin Phoenix. I don't like. Yeah. I'm not a fan of him at all, and really, I think he's just as bad a choice for the Joker as Jared Leto. So I just nope. And then you have, Scorsese walking away from it. Just, I was trying to find something like a trash can, something like it done right in the garbage.
Yeah. Okay. The fact that like Thomas Wayne is supposed to be in it, I know that maybe it's a rumor, maybe it's not going to happen, but that for my mind, I always go into comic book movies with this is a separate universe, doesn't have anything to do with the books, it's its own thing. This is our version of Superman in the movies, our version of Cap in the movies. It's not the book. Right. But for them to mess with a timeline that much, there's no way that Thomas Wayne and Jack Napier, or whoever the Joker is going to be, cross paths. You know what I'm saying? Unless they set the Joker as way older than Batman, like in the original Batman films. Yeah. That would be the only way they do that. With any other iteration of the Joker, he's always probably been about the same age as Batman,
Exactly. Right. Well, they pretty much got their start together.
Right.
Other than the Gotham show.
Oh, yeah.
Where Batman's like, 15, 20 years older? I mean, Joker's that much older than Batman? Like, all the villains. Like, when was there such an age gap?
Yeah. And you talk about age gap and jumping characters' ages. Look at Poison Ivy on that show.
Oh God, yeah, you're right.
You went from like an 8-year-old to like a 20-year-old. You're like, what just happened? The plants aged her or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, something weird like that.
I just think that, man. I think that's such a bad decision. It's just like, and you know what it really does. And honestly, I think that all this shows is how, I guess, good of a job that Heath Ledger did, and how really and honestly they don't know how to follow up another character. They don't know how to follow up after losing him. Like they're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something works out with it. It's just like you have to find a good enough actor to do it. Now maybe I'll eat my words and Joaquin Phoenix will be incredible, but I just look at his body of work and the stuff that he's done, and really there hasn't been many roles that I've liked him in, not because his character, is a scumbag or a jerk, and I just he just doesn't. For me, he's just not a good actor. So the only thing I liked him in was Signs when he put on a tinfoil hat. That I started laughing my ass off. That was funny.
I liked him in Walk the Line. It's Johnny Cash. But the thing was that was like, why is DC pushing the Joker so hard? Batman has the most colorful, best known villains of any superhero.
Yep.
You have so many that you could throw out there in a film or anything else.
Yep.
Why are you pushing the Joker so
even
hard?
obscure ones that and just really flesh them out and give them a great story? Oh man, there's a lot they could do with Batman Gallery, but they just refuse to. I really do think that for them, they're just like, we need to have a character of a name and just go like this. Like, think of it this way: they haven't had a Penguin character on film, in a movie since Danny DeVito. Now, is it because
it was good?
Watch it. Was it just that bad of a performance? Maybe it was that far, away from his character. Yeah. But I mean, you could easily put Penguin back in and have him be part of a movie. I mean, there's a bunch of characters you could use, and just they're so Joker centric just because of the fact that, I just think that they feel like he's a moneymaker and there's no way else around him, and you have to have somebody play him, just to kind of hopefully erase Heath Ledger's memory of how good of a performance he had, and it's just I don't think you can.
Yeah, I feel like with the movies, there's this one big aha moment, like this big twist or reveal they're trying to get to, but they don't quite know how to get there yet, so they're kind of floundering.
Yeah,
it's just Batman's cousin, or there's 3 of them, or whatever it is, but can't quite figure out the story, the plot to get to that.
I think he's I think honestly, he's the type of character that the less you know about him, the better it is. Similar to how Wolverine is. Wolverine, the reason that they were able to kill him and basically take him out of comics, for a while like that, was because of the fact they gave him an origin. They told you who he was. When he had no origin, he was unkillable because you didn't know who he was. That's what kept him, that's in my opinion at least, that's what kept him immortal. And then once you go ahead and explain who he is and his backstory and this is where he came from, you can easily cut him off because okay, we know the one thing that we were looking to find out about him, we did, and that's it. No more mystery. It's all over.
Right. There's plenty of plenty of the newer characters that they could use. It's funny. Scotty just said it. I was gonna say Hush. Black Mask. Red Hood. Bunch of cool characters that they could pull from that. They're modern.
Yeah, if you want to do an actual really cool street level Batman detective movie, Black Mask would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely,
definitely.
They need to, I guess, condense it down and give us that type of feel of a Batman type thing. He doesn't need to be teaming up with people with superpowers or anything else. Just give us a good Batman story. We're removed from the Nolan run at this point. If you want to energize your films, if you want people to care about your films, give us a good Batman movie.
Yep.
Exactly.
It shouldn't. I've never made a movie, so I can't say it shouldn't be that hard. I can say it from my opinion, where it's just with everything you have such a wealth of stories from it. It should be a slam dunk. It's all right, look, we're gonna go with this type of stuff. We're gonna put this character in these ways. We're gonna go this way with it, and then just get some comic people involved in it. As far as how would you do this? What would you do? If you were storyboarding this, how would you like this scene to play out? And then just collaborate and make something that is great, because I know it can be done. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. They're just that I think that what's going on is just that they're trying to find that magic formula. It's like, oh no, we got to do exactly what Marvel's doing and find, you know, that success where like, pretty much everything you touch turns to gold. And it's just like, you figure out your own stuff, make good movies. That's all you have to do is make good movies. I mean, if you have directors that have made good movies before, it's like, all right, what did you do with this? Now, channel like take what you know of filmmaking, where you know something's good versus bad, and then just, you know, put the good elements in it, and then get help when you need it. That's what they should be doing. I think, and I think that's what a lot of it comes down to, is that they're not asking for help when they need on the issues, on the things that they need to, and they're trying to just kind of, you know, just really just stitch everything together and hope that, well, the popularity of the character is going to sell the movie, so you don't have to worry about it. Just make a good trailer, get people excited, give them something at the end, a little twist, and then they'll come back and see the next one. It's just like, I mean, if that's how simple they think that Marvel's formula is, that's where their mistake is.
Yeah, exactly. I want to read Iron Galactus' comment. He says, maybe they could do a Man-Bat and release it at the same week as the Morbius movie, and
there you go.
See which one does better.
Nice.
That's a smart way to do it. You know what?
Yeah.
Because like to see, and that's a Sony movie, not you know Marvel specifically. But if they put it out there at the same time and it, you know, outshined, you know, a Marvel movie, in that way, like a Marvel characters movie, like that's how you get, you know, new life in DC and get, you know, faith restored in going to see those movies. So I think that's a great idea. Iron Galactus, go ahead.
Yeah,
Get to Warner Brothers with that one.
Yeah, right? Pitch it. Put your pitch together. Talk about new life, actually. Billy D. Williams is confirmed to be coming back for episode 9 as Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, the original Billy D.
Yeah, you know, we just had Donald Glover as Lando. Now we're getting Billy D. You know, same guy, same name.
They're on a mission to kill off all the original characters.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Yeah. I mean, that does make for an interesting meetup, I guess. But then again, you know, it is kind of weird to have that meetup happen, you know, in episode 9. It's just like, you know, I figured that could have happened in the last one. But
yeah,
I guess if you're looking at from where the last one, you know, left off, and there's literally like about, you know, the resistance went down from being, you know, 120 people to now, like, you know, there's like 17 total. Yeah. It's like, you know, you see Billy D. Williams come out of nowhere. He's like, you know, Princess, where's Han? Oh, he's dead. What? You know, so you have that kind of thing together. And then, you know, I mean, it's good to see him come back. I just think that it would have been nicer to see him come back earlier than so late in the films. But
yeah, because when you think Lando, you think Han also, you know, like, they're like, yeah. There is a way they could bring Han back if they wanted to.
Yeah, because they could say that he didn't die, or
exactly in the novel. I don't know if you guys read that for The Force Awakens. They were talking about like the Starkiller base and kind of like what's powering it, like how does that thing work, and what it was actually doing, according to the novel, is like ripping holes in space and time to like power it, and it would like shoot instead of like through like over space, it would shoot like through it, you know.
Oh, wow.
And it was like this technology that was like so advanced that even they didn't really understand what they were meddling with, you know. So it was like shooting holes through space and time, and then the other part of it would be, and it's established because it's canon. But do you guys watch Rebels? Star Wars Rebels?
I haven't. Like, I want to. I just haven't had a chance to.
Okay. So there's an episode, I forget what it's called, but Ezra was using the Force, and he went to this like other realm, which was like, it was basically outside of time and space. And in that realm that he was in, there were all these portals that he could go to all these specific points in time, you know? So he could go forwards, backwards, wherever he wanted in time. So that was kind of like their version of time travel, and that's canon. So based on what the technology was in the Starkiller base and this precedent here for this other realm, which allows you to travel, that they were like shooting through basically. I mean, he could be somewhere, you know.
Yep.
And still alive. We saw him fall, but where did he fall to, you know? So
the funniest spot would be, you know, I'm pretty sure Harrison Ford would cry if they're just like, all right, so look, Harrison, we need you one more movie.
He said no. He's done.
Yeah. That's a wild theory. That's not going to happen, but I just thought it was fun to put it out there. There is time travel in Star Wars. It's canon.
Yeah.
The Force gives you access to the time gem.
That's right. Snap your fingers. Everyone's back.
Yeah.
So, that would be funny. All right, so let's get into the other two topics. I don't know which one you want to do first. Stan Lee or the Marvel thing?
Let's go with Stan.
Yeah, let's go with
Dealer's
Stan. We don't
choice.
end on
All right.
that.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, so
And before we go, guys, get your tissues out.
yeah, right. No, he's still alive. He's fine. But we've talked about it ad nauseum on this show. You know, his whole history since July of last year, with all the people around him that are trying to take his money and steal his blood, and you know, all these things. And you can go back and watch those episodes. I'm not going to rehash it here. So recently, it all led up to this, to where Kia Morgan was basically his handler. He was the one that was kind of, everything had to funnel in through him to Stan, and then everything from Stan had to go through Kia. So basically he was like controlling the narrative on both sides. Stan would only know what he was saying, and the vice versa. Bad guy. I'm talking as a third party based on what I know.
Yeah.
But the judge agreed with me. So Tom Lawless, he was the attorney that Stan had back then, when all those papers were being signed and all this stuff was happening. He filed for a restraining order against Kia, which was granted on a temporary basis. But on July 6th, it was dismissed. I'm sure you guys read about that in the news.
Yeah.
It wasn't dismissed on the grounds of the findings of what was, being filed for. It's because Tom Lawless no longer officially represented Lee. That was the defense. So that same day, another guy came up. His name is Stephen Crump. He filed it on behalf of Jonathan Freund, who was another attorney of Stan's, who granted the restraining order. So it came back, but instead of Tom Lawless, Stephen Crump. Basically, Kia Morgan cannot go within 100 yards of Stan, of his daughter J.C. Lee, or his brother Larry. So the three people are all in that. And Jonathan Freund is the guy who actually is. I'm sure you guys remember this too. Remember the elder abuse lawsuit against Olivares? So Freund is the guy who filed that one. Okay. So that got, that is good. The restraining order is in place. It was, dismissed, but then re-granted under a new name. So that's fine. The other thing was POW Entertainment. That was a big thing we talked about with the $1 billion lawsuit. Right? Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Stan dropped that as well. So that's all out. And do you guys follow Stan on Twitter or any of the social media?
Yep.
So you may have seen a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so back, he was like, hey, now it's finally Stan. I'm finally, being, me officially. And all my other accounts were hacked and stuff like that. So do you remember that?
Yep. He was like sitting on his couch or something.
Yep, exactly. So it kind of made it seem like, okay, Stan finally has his stuff back. So kind of crazy, but it ended up being not Stan. So what do you call it? POW Entertainment now has control back of all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure it was Kia who was doing that. Because remember I was saying he was controlling all the narrative in and out. So I'm sure he was controlling the social media stuff too. And you could tell by some of the retweets kind of matched what Kia's account would retweet people and topics. So they issued this whole letter and stuff about it's now we're good. We're going to be doing these accounts and they're going to be fine. We're going to be fully open with the public. And Stan will be, good basically. So that's kind of where it is now. There's the restraining order granted. The thing with POW Entertainment is basically gone. And they are back to doing what they were normally doing with managing his, social media presence. So it's good news, actually. Is that a lot of stuff there, but good news. I don't know what you guys want to say about that.
I'm not sure what Miss Hustle was referring to, but good idea. We should clone Stan. That way he'll get to stay around forever.
Yeah. A life model decoy.
Right? There we go. That'd work. No, I mean, I think it's, to get rid of the pal thing, I think it's good. At his age and things like going on, he probably doesn't really need to be tied up in like weird litigation stuff for who knows how long. But I'm happy about the restraining order, definitely, especially, if he wouldn't have got it if some of the stuff we heard wasn't true, right? If something wasn't
exactly
messed up there. So I'm really happy about that. I hope he's surrounded himself with, some higher quality people that are really going to take care of him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just, you hate to hear anything negative about what's going on with him. Regardless of whatever else or what you think about his business practices back in the 60s and 70s or whatever you think, he's an old man who's created so many of the characters that we love, that we've poured our hard-earned money into getting and things like that, that you just want him to have like a nice, respectful kind of last few years or whatever you want to say, Yeah.
That's what I think too. Just because in the end, and I feel the same way, like, regardless of how you feel about him, if you think, he's done wrong by people and this and that, hey, look, that might all be valid and true, on the one hand, but he's an old man now. He's an old guy, and it's just like to see him being, abused and just taken advantage of in this way is just not really cool. It's not fair either. It's just, he's an older man. He lost his wife recently. It's just like, just let him ride it out. Like, not to say that everybody should sit there and, you can still be, I guess, you can still be looked on as kind of a not so great character and everything like that. But the point is, like you said, let him just ride out the end, and he shouldn't have to suffer for it. It's just like, even if it is something, I guess let him suffer internally with it. Like, he's the one who has to come to grips with what he did, how he did it, and everything like that. There's no reason to really just let this continue and everything like that. So I think that, like I said, I agree with you as far as like, good for the lawsuit, but I just hope that he finally gets some peace at this point. And it's just like, what? Just let him, live out the rest of his life. Just peaceful. Just leave him alone. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He needs a respite from all this, and get him back in like good health to where he's joking around Stan again. That's what we all want to see.
Exactly.
We want to see Stanley, cracking jokes about Spider-Man and saying Excelsior.
I think the toughest part too is just because I know personally there's nothing I can do about it, and that's that is what it is.
Right.
But, I look at it where it's very tough to sit there and, like, I have reservations of anybody really being like, oh, I'm going to take care of Stan. Like, are you really, though? Like, are you going to take care of him, or are you looking to take care of yourself?
Right.
Because, and for him, it's just like, who do you trust? Because, there's been so many people who've had, close relationships with him, and there's been so many rumors coming out about all these different people, including his daughter, taking a piece of, what he's trying to get, some of what he has left and everything. So it's just like, it's a tough one. But like I said, the man can find some peace and just enjoy the rest of his life. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Just let him have his day. That's it. Regardless of how you feel about the guy, just let him do his thing. Just because that's what any of us would want. That's the way I see it.
Oh yeah. Anytime you see anything like this about like an older person, you're like, to me, it's like you think about somebody messing with like your grandpa or your grandma or something. Yeah. How would you feel about that? And how much of a despicable person, that would have to be, So
exactly.
It just kind of blows your mind that there are that many messed up people out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like we said, good news. It's moving in the right direction. It's where we want it to go. Yeah. So.
Positive note for Stan.
That's right. Yeah. Excelsior, man.
That's right.
All right. So temperature check is kind of what I wanted to call this. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but last year there was just so much happening with Marvel in terms of controversy, scandal, disappointment, people being pissed off, whether it was with whether it was with a story or with a creator or bait and switch with the marketing campaigns. So a lot of things came around to where like Axel left. Right? Was Axel or Joe?
It was Axel.
Axel, okay. And then CB Cebulski came along and they said they're kind of going to do like a new like fresh start type of thing. And I feel my personal opinion is that things are much, much better. Kind of like bringing back the characters. We talked about Captain America, Wolverine's on the way back, Fantastic Four is on the way back. Tony Stark just came back, right? They have some really cool people. Jason Aaron, he's doing Avengers and Thor, so that's pretty cool. They get Donny Cates, who's really killing it on a lot of stuff. The Thanos stuff, the Death of Inhumans book was really cool. Venom, pretty cool, like horror type thing. He's kind of like the shock jock, I would call him. Kind of like, I don't know, just all these things that he does. They're like, whoa, these big moments. But it's cool, right? And that's what we want when we read these stories.
Right.
Spencer, the new Spider-Man stuff's been good. Granted, it's been one issue. Well, one and no, I guess it's one. I was trying to count the free comic book day one. Immortal Hulk is good.
Yeah. A lot of people
issue that I read. Yeah.
A lot of people. I read the first issue. I haven't read the second issue, but yeah, a lot of people just love that book. So
yeah,
I can agree. Like I like the first issue. I like the first issue, but apparently not enough to read the second issue yet.
I thought that Century is pretty good. I liked the story in Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
The art needed some. The art definitely could use a tune-up. It wasn't that good, but I think as far as where they're at this year versus last year, it's a whole different ball game. I think that coming off of all the all that Secret Empire stuff, really. I mean, you had people begging you to let the story play out and everything last summer, and now this year it's all this new. They're trying to kind of just go in a new direction with a lot of things. So I think there's more excitement towards Marvel. I think that they definitely are trying to make steps in the right direction. So there's a lot of different new stuff out there that you can kind of check out and see if you like, which is good. But I think that you still tread lightly just because they could easily make a mistake. But then again, it's just like I think that they've kind of learned a little bit, and they're not as quick to just release. I mean, they dropped a lot of new number ones and everything, but these number ones are now characters that they're titles that and they're trying to kind of get more interest into some other things. I mean, you do have Death of the Inhumans, which actually I thought was pretty good. I read that.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a shocking book from the aspect that there was no waiting around. They just started killing off characters.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I thought that was pretty. I mean, it was good because it was a good shock value book. It was just like, oh wow, this is how it. So this is how they started out.
I call him the shock jock.
Yeah.
That was surprising. I will say.
Yeah. So I think that they have a better direction this time around. I think that they're not just looking to throw a bunch of number ones out. They're not looking to switch characters so drastically. So it's just like there's no gender swapping. There's no it doesn't look like there's just a bunch of titles being thrown out there for no reason. So for me, I just think that they have a good start to it. I hope that they can keep it up. I don't know if they're gonna be able to. I don't know if they're gonna put out. Hopefully not as many titles as they did last year, and have so many get canceled. I think that they're gonna have a lot more solid titles that are gonna actually, be able to be, basically ride them out, and hopefully not just go for a year and then start over again. I do know that last year, I mean, the thing that I kept on saying was it was just like you'd have to sift through and be like, okay, this is a good story. Like read this one. This is what I'm sticking with for now. And I would say that about I said that about Old Man Logan, Thanos, and Unworthy Thor. Like those were to me the three that stood out that shined the most. And then you just kind of had a lot of other stuff that was just kind of like all over the place, and it just really didn't seem to fit so much. And people got a lot of, there was a lot of backlash with where some people wanted to see characters go and they didn't. So I think that this is kind of I think a better starting point, because you have Bruce Banner back. Tony Stark is Iron Man again. Captain America isn't Sam Wilson anymore. It's actually Captain America. And Spider-Man is, rebooted at #1. So I don't know. I think that there's a lot that can be done with it. And I think that also too, once Fantastic Four kind of hits, that might also kind of give them another jump start. And then, we'll see what happens with the X-Men and stuff like that. But now I think that, they're definitely giving you enough to kind of be able to, be okay. I mean, still skeptical a little bit, but to still be like, okay, I'm going to be able to read this stuff and not have a problem.
Yeah. There's definitely still some crap out there, right?
Yeah.
But there's now, compared to last year when pretty much everything was crap, now there's actually a few things that you can pick up and read and have a good time with, versus back then. They're still doing a lot of the Marvel stuff, Marvel being Marvel with their variants and this and that. But I personally, and I know Pope Cerebus said he disagreed. I feel like, yes, there's a lot that they can still do to improve. There's a lot of room there and ideas and things that they can do or not do. But the way it is right now, and I listed a bunch of the books that I like to read, my list last year would have been just a couple books. Now I just gave you a whole, I don't know, dozen of them or so.
Yeah, like my list literally was like those 3 for a while, and it was like, all right, I pick up this for a little bit and pick up that, and actually, I'm sorry, Amazing Spider-Man was actually good too. But the thing was, so it was like, for me, it was like 4 solid books and then a few that I would pick up, here and there in between. This time around, I think there's, for me, there's more, and I think that like things are just kind of, being done in a smarter way. I just don't know if they're gonna keep that up. I mean, I think that this may not be the first time they were talking about. I think that what happens is just that was just a lot of lip service, to be honest with you, just to get fans not to, completely abandon them because of how badly they had messed things up. I think that it's just going to end up being, it's just for them a new start for different things to get people kind of interested again. But the new start that they're hoping to, like, pretty much bring us back into an age of, Marvel that we remember, that we loved and grew up with. I really don't think that they have the talent or the leadership to do that again. I just don't. I think that it's going to take it's going to take a while for that to come back.
Yeah. That's still, I think, like the biggest complaint we hear out of Marvel is maybe people aren't even really complaining about the story or anything anymore. It's just the art is so hit or miss with so many of their books. Like we just mentioned, Cosmic Ghost Rider, the story was really cool. Like I thought the story was pretty cool. We'll spoil it. Frank Castle dies and goes to Valhalla and then wants to leave.
Yeah.
You get Odin, and that's kind of cool. It's a little peek inside the character, things like that. But the art just took away from it. The faces were not good at all. We can talk about Thor. Jason Aaron's still going. But Del Mundo's art just does not lend itself well to that book, in my opinion. And I think that's overall going to hurt sales of that book. Even though this should be like the triumphant end to Jason Aaron's run, but that's always going to be something that people are going to pick at on this run, of course, is that the art just really doesn't look that good,
Yeah.
So, I mean, and
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Like I was saying though, I mean, they have turned things around, but I'm still, and for the first time maybe ever, I'm picking up more DC than Marvel.
Yeah.
See, that was me last year. I was picking up more DC than Marvel just because of the fact that, DC had some stronger titles come out, and, they were just doing it better. And I think that, when you do have that question of especially something like Cosmic Ghost, I mean, because you go back to, like, when Thanos 13 came out, and it was just, everybody was like, oh my God, like Cosmic Ghost Rider, this is cool. And, I mean, you should think that, you're going to have, somebody who does really good work, make that book as pretty as possible. So that just like, get an awesome, get a great writer on it. And then also get, you know, just a badass artist to get on there and, you know, really make that book pop and shine. Just because, I mean, you're still dealing with a Ghost Rider character. Like, I mean, you have to be able to like really embellish and make that just stand out and look really awesome and cool, just because of the fact of his powers, just because of, you know, how he looks when he's riding around and all the rest of it. It's like you gotta have that, like, you know, just really that should be handed to I think one of your top guys and be like, all right, look, we need you to make this over the top. We want this to be really just, you know, something that people remember and that they want to have. You know, it shouldn't just be for a cover. It's like, all right, you know, this cover is awesome, but, you know, when I turn it on the inside, it looks like, you know, just they gave it to, you know, the new intern that's going to be gone in about 3 months.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's true. There's so much emphasis on the cover, then you open it up and it's like a completely different thing. You know, at least it doesn't have to be the same artist, but at least the same kind of
feel. It's gotta have the same kind of feel.
The quality should, put it this way, when you open the cover of the book, it should definitely be, you know, something where it's like, okay, I'm still looking at something I can understand is on par, you know, quality wise. I mean, you know, you are gonna have those issues where it's just like, you know, like you have your Adam Hughes covers and stuff like that, where it's just like, you know, you have these really just like, you know, amazing cover artists that, you know, excel at just doing covers. All right, you know what I mean? And you can't expect the rest of the book to look like that, but you know, something, it just should be consistent. Like, it shouldn't be something where, you know, you open a book and you just say, what the hell happened here? Because that's what happened with that Thor book, the new Thor. I opened it up and the art was so bad. I was like, no way, not at all. Because it's just like, you know, I wanted to get into the character. I wanted to really, you know, go on a new ride with you know, Thor and just, you know, go on that new run with them. And it was just like, this art is so pathetic. You can't expect me to drop this kind of money to sit there and look at that. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
Yep.
Yeah. So you have there's what, I mean, there's more than this, but you have red, blue, and gold, right, for X-Men?
Yep.
Is that right? It's Taylor, Bunn, and Guggenheim, I think.
And and you've also got Astonishing.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. So do you think that those? Because I would like to see kind of like, you know, one Uncanny book and one just regular X-Men book.
Yeah, I would say keep red because Tom Taylor is a good writer.
Right.
And then condense the other 3 books back into Uncanny.
Yeah. Yeah, he's only doing Hunt, and that's 4 issues. It's almost done. Hunt for Wolverine, right?
Yep.
So yeah, he could take on another book. I know Jason Aaron does a couple, so he can do a couple.
Yeah.
I mean,
same with Colin Bunn. He's doing Colin Bunn's writing everything. He's doing the Deadpool assassin thing. He's doing Dark Arc, ton of stuff with Image and X-Men Blue. So if he can do it, I mean,
yeah,
Taylor can.
It's a lot of stuff, but it again, it's like at some point Marvel stretches itself too thin, trying to grab money off of, you know, titles and things like that.
Right, and that's one thing that where I think Chris especially mentioned it was like, where are they going to go in the future? Like, you have a good thing right now. Like, Marvel's thing is like, okay, they have an idea, like Venomize, for example. People love it. Let's just run it into the ground. We're just going to hit them with everything. If they like this one Venomize thing, we're going to make everything Venomize, right? So it's like, okay, we like Donny Cates, so we're going to make him write everything, and then he's going to get burned out. You know, it's going to suck.
Or the quality's just going to go down because the guy now has like 7 books to write in a month versus like one where he could actually like focus on it. Now he's rushing, you know.
That's the key word right there, rushing, right?
Yeah. Well, and then that's when they get pissed off and they're like, you know what, I'm leaving this and I'm going to go into either indies or I'm going to go to, you know, the competition and then work over there for a little bit. And it's just like, you know, I mean, in some cases it's not so bad, but in other cases it's just like, you know, it would be better to have some of these guys stick around and know that, hey man, you know, we can get some really good quality stuff out of this. Like, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you look at the, you know, like, and I know that not the end all be all team of all time, but it's just like, you look at the, you know, Byrne and Claremont run, and it's just like, you know, have they been able to keep themselves going and as far as like, you know, getting along and everything, that would have lasted longer. And they were on that for a while. I mean, you know what I mean? They went together, I think it was like something like 35 or something like that. It's just like 108 to 143. It's like, I mean, so it's almost like a 3-year run they had together. You don't see that anymore. You just see people on together for about, maybe like 12 issues, maybe, or 20 at the most, and then that's it. They just, kind of go off.
Right. Yeah, and then when they go off, that's when they reboot instead of just continuing with the new team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that there's something to be had with, like what you do is you keep it going, and then you see where you can go from there. You build off of all that type of stuff, because to go back and keep rebooting, it gets confused, and then you have people telling the same stories, not realizing that, oh yeah, this was something that came out like 4 years ago. Like, I've read this already. Because that's the worst thing you want to have, is people that can go back and be like, yeah, no, let me just go on my long box and pick up, or I go in this trade, and that's the exact same story that I picked up here. And if you expect me to pay, because let's say the price is inflated at the time, let's say books are $1.99. It's like, if you expect me to pay the same money or pay more money for what I have right here, no way, I'm not doing it. So, I think that really they need to focus on just getting some long-term artists. I mean, think of it this way, because we just recently lost Steve Ditko, and it's just like, you look at his run on Spider-Man was long. You know what I mean? Like that's what helped establish all those characters. That's what helped establish him as an artist, was that he was there for such a long time. And then you have the Romita stuff, and he was on there for a long time. It's like, you need to go back to doing that and just be, look, I don't know how contracts and all the rest of it work nowadays, but it's just like, we need to get some of these people exclusive working on some books for a long period of time, and let them take breaks and go into other books here and there, like do an issue or two somewhere else, but your mainstay is right here. You know what I mean? Like that would be cool.
Yeah. So we're heading up towards the time we normally wrap up. There was something I skipped, so I just want to touch on that briefly. But then I want to hear what you guys are up to on your channels over the next couple of days. We're talking about Marvel, but DC's not. They have their own issues, right? I mean, the whole Batman 50 thing. So they're, I know we focus on Marvel, but it's kind of the other side of the street is got their own issues too. But G. Willow Wilson's going to be taking over on Wonder Woman in December. So that's pretty interesting. But the thing I wanted to mention about DC, just to drop some DC in there, I know we got some DC fans. The Black Label, a little bit more about that, right? The first one's going to be Batman Damned. Basically, he's teaming up with John Constantine on that. So that's pretty cool. And they're going to be like an slightly oversized style.
Like prestige format, or like the Walmart books, you think?
Oversized as in the dimensions. So it's kind of more like I guess not treasury size, but not quite that big. Bigger than a modern
Silver Age-ish, but bigger. look up like European standard comic book size, and you'll see the difference. It's like it's different. Wait, what bags are they going to fit in?
I don't know. I don't know.
I would go with Silver Age most likely, if it's going to be tall, bigger than a modern or a current or whatever like that. I would go with Silver Age just to be safe.
Yeah. So that'll be pretty cool. All right. So what do you guys got coming up on your channels through the weekend or into next week?
Well, I will have to go ahead and do my haul, just because I have a couple weeks worth of stuff to catch up on because I went on vacation and everything. So I'll be doing that, and just showing off a bunch of books. And just kind of getting back into the groove of making videos and things again cool. After taking that week off. So, I'll be back to it, and hopefully showing some pretty fun stuff. So, come check me out on my channel. I plan to have that up over the weekend. So either Saturday or Sunday morning, somewhere in there. But well, actually, wait a minute. I wouldn't do it on Sunday morning because I think I'm going to be busy watching something else on Sunday morning.
What might that be, Justin?
It'll be Sunday morning comics, everybody. Just head on over to my channel, Exile State Comics, Sunday morning about 10 o'clock. We'll be talking about some fun stuff. I guess what I'm going to have to do now on Sunday morning comics is I'm going to have to talk about a Superman story and a Captain America story that I do like. So that it's not that I'm like bashing on those characters. So
that's funny.
It'll be kind of fun. Also have a character comparison video that I've pretty much got done. I just need to do a little bit more editing and throw that up.
Cool.
And of course, the haul will probably be up later tomorrow or Saturday at the latest. So we'll be going over all that. And of course, as part of that, we'll have 2 giveaways in this haul.
What? Nice.
Everything's an issue or an episode, right?
That's right.
Pretty much what it comes down to.
Cool. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Saturday, I'm going to be at Florida SuperCon. It's called. Big old convention down here in dang old South Florida, man. A lot of people there. I do my typical video thing I like to do for those. I see Brian B just popped in the chat. He'll be there.
Nice.
They have a table set up. So that's cool. And I'll be probably pretty tired by Sunday, so I'm just going to be hanging around Sunday morning and watching some SMC with y'all.
Right. So. One last thing before we go. I want to give props to Brian B. Like, everybody go check out his channel. Take the Time Collectibles, Brian B. He put out a great video earlier this week or late last week, I don't remember, about diamond damages. Like, the guy's at a shop. He goes through what shops have to deal with when they get books from Diamond and things like that. It's a great eye opener. It really makes you value that 9.8 that you might have so much more, knowing that, you know, what they have to go through with books, really. So definitely, you guys can take a look at that. You definitely should. Absolutely.
Yeah, you get to see the actual boxes, what the post office does. You know, where most of the damages come from, corners. Yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, I agree. Great video.
I'll be checking that out.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, this has been episode 92 of Comic Conversation. If you want to watch it later, feel free. Just leave us a comment. Let you know we stopped by. Wait, I said that weird. Let us know that you stopped by. There we go. And you know, leave us your thoughts on any of these topics. You know, and definitely be curious to hear what that is from you. So continue that conversation down below. That's it. This is Jesse, Justin. Where'd everyone go? Chris is here, though. We'll be back next week with another show. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
See you later.